Hello everyone, Glenda Mollet here, and I'm in my craft room with you today, and we're going to play with the Art in Bloom bundle and the gorgeous fresh freesia color. There we go. All right, so I'm up. I can see comments, and let me just check, make sure it's focused properly. It seems to be a bit blurry. Okay, a bit blurry. That's a little bit different. There we go. Okay, things are chugging along now. So good morning. I'm so glad that you could join me either live or on the replay. And I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful card using the Art in Bloom bundle. Now I'm trying to get the embossing on the screen for you. Do you see that? How gorgeous is that embossing? So this is kind of like the Sand and Sea suite where the dies will cut out embossed images, but it's completely different. And I just want to say right at the start, do not try this with your the Sand and Sea dies, what I can't remember what they're called, and the embossing folder, because it will not work with those ones. This is legitimately a hybrid embossing folder, and Stampin' Up! Has said that it will not work with anything else that we have, but we can look forward to some newer ones when the next catalog comes out. So I'm not using a lot of products today. A thick basic white card base. I have a piece of basic white 5 1/4 by 4 for the inside, a piece of fresh freesia that is 5 1/4 by 4 to layer on the front, a piece of basic white that's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 to layer on top, and a scrap piece for the sentiment. Excuse me. I also have some fresh freesia ribbon, and that's 6 1/2 inches of it. Okay, so the magic all happens. Oh, excuse me. Right on the front with the embossing and the die cutting. So I'm just going to pull in my stamp set, Art in Bloom stamp set, and that coordinates. I'm trying to get this so that you don't get the glare on there. Nope. Hang on. I just have to raise it up a little bit. Okay, just there you go. Art in Bloom stamp set. The coordinating Bloom Hybrid Embossing folder and the coordinating Bloom dies. Now, these two go together. You can't buy them separately. Good morning, Janet. You can get them in a bundle, and you can order these separately from the stamp set. But why would you want to? Because look at the stamp set. So I'm going to use the stamp set and die cut and emboss it. And then the sentiment comes from Encircled in Friendship, which is fastly becoming another one of my favorites just for the sentiments and stuff. Then the sentiment label is from the Tasteful Labels dies. Oh, should have been. There we go. Talking more this morning, I wouldn't be so gravelly. And then I'm going to finish it off with some pastel pearls. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So we're going to stamp. I'm sorry, this probably is a bit disjointed because, it's early in the morning. I'm going to ink up my stamp. Then I'm going to look at the embossing folder and see which way the stamp needs to go, and it needs to go that way to match the embossing folder. So I'm OCD, so that really needs to happen sort of like this. You have a bit of leeway with it because the embossing folder is nice and big, so It doesn't matter if you're off a little bit. Oh my goodness. Oh, I missed. Pardon me. I'm just going to grab a drink of tea. Maybe my groggy throat will go away. Oh. Ah, I got water everywhere or tea everywhere. Okay, I'm good. Now, I missed that little bit, but so I'm just going to turn it over because that's why there's two sides to every piece of paper, right? I was talking to some demo friends the other day about our videos, and one of them has a son who is a video editor, and he said, "Don't edit it, just keep it real, Mom." So that's what I do. That's what you see. You see the real me. You see all the flaws, the boo-boos that you don't usually see when all you see is my finished projects. There we go. Okay, give it a good rub. Make sure I transfer that's much better. Okay, now to use the embossing folder and the dies is super simple because they've made the embossing folder so that the dies sit down in a little groove there. So they go on the front. So the way you can remember the front and the back is this is the raised side. So that's a bump. So bump is the back. This is the depressed side. So that's the front. So you just take your dies, and I'm going to line up this one and this one. And you just move it around until you can feel it pop down inside the groove that they've made for it. So I'll do that again because it's really easy. You just move it around, even if you have it off kilter. Of course, I've got it way off. There we go. And it's just that easy to line them up and get them going. And then I'm going to put this on here, partially close that so I can keep the dies in place, and then just move my stamped image around. Oh, my dies fell out. I think I put a little tiny bit of post-it note right there to keep them in place, because this is the tricky part, but it's once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. So I'm just moving my stamped image around until it matches where the die cuts are going to be. Doesn't take long, and if you're off a little bit, does it really matter? There. So I'm not going to get it embossed on the edges, but that's okay because you'll see in a minute that it really doesn't make any difference. So to run this through my machine now, let me change the plates and I'll show you what you use. So you have your platform. It's without the thin adapter, and if you have the one that has the flaps on it, like the really old one, then just open the flaps, both of them. You put your embossing folder in and then cover it up with the gray plate or the blue plate, whichever one you have. They both do the same job. Okay, now I'm running it through, and I made sure that my hinge went through first, because otherwise you could destroy your embossing folder. So there it is, finished going through the machine. And when I open this, there's your result. Look at that. Just look at the embossing. So it has embossed all the way around as well as embossed the flowers and die cut them at the same time. Look at this. Is that not fun? I love it. And then these just pop out of here again. Of course, I have to move my post-it note now because I don't want that being in there forever. Now you can use this just as an embossing folder. It works very well. You don't need to have the dies to cut it out if you don't want to, but you can't get the dies without the embossing. folder, so you'll have both. Okay, so the next step is to take this piece that has the holes in it, but has all that gorgeous embossing all the way around it, and we're going to layer it right onto a layer of fresh freesia. And I'm going to close my ink pad before I get stuff all over it. So I'm just going to go around the outside with my Stampin' Seal. Come on. There we go. Got it. Okay, now I got to be very careful right here at the edge because I want adhesive on that edge, but I don't want to put adhesive all over my table. So right around the outside. I like that. And now I'm going to go and put a little bit in places that there is quite a difference in space from where the adhesive is and where the hole is. And then some right in the very center. Did I get some? Yeah. Okay, so now when I get it off my fingers, am I doing this in camera? Just want to make sure. And we're going to layer it right onto this piece of fresh freesia cardstock, like that. Then bringing in my tear and tape. Where's the bottom? This is the bottom. I want to put some tear and tape on here because I'm going to wrap some ribbon around, and I like using tear and tape for this. Put a couple of strips on, take off the liner. I'll be using the tear and tape again, so I'm not going to put it far away. And take the ribbon, decide which way up you want, and I like it so that this flower is pointing up. And I'm just going to wrap my ribbon right around my card front and attach it on those two pieces of tear and tape that I put back there. Now, one last check to make sure it's straight because I haven't got my grid paper here. So, and I'm just going to put some more tear and tape right over the top. And what that does is it securely anchors your ribbon and it will never move by doing adhesive on the top and the bottom. Come on. So I did last Friday night, I do a collaboration on my Facebook page group. Sorry, my Facebook VIP group. And you can find the link to that in the description of the video. We did this bundle last Friday. So I've put the link to that video in the description of this video, just in case you want to see what it is. I'll see if I can find the cards before we go, if I remember. So now this is going right onto my card base, like that. There we go. Now I need dimensionals because now I'm going to pop these all up. Now you can use you can use foam strips. Really not necessary, but if you want it to be up higher than what I've got, because the embossing folder does tend to raise this a bit. So and these are a little bit concave. So if you take your flower and just kind of do that with it, and then I'm just going to continue on with the dimensionals on the backs of these. Now this is going to go right over top of my ribbon, and if you have stamped with me for a while, you'll probably remember that I don't like putting adhesive under my ribbon, but in this case, sometimes it's necessary, depending on where you get your dimensionals situated on ribbon. Now, this is the one that's going to go here. So I'm going to see if I can avoid putting dimensionals along there, but I want one at the end. So I think I've kind of managed to do that. I got it there and there. And then one on the other side. So I'm good to go with this one now. And if you happen to get a dimensional on there, don't sweat it, because this one's going to be in the way. You can always just slide a glue dot underneath there. See how it's going to go right over top like that. And this one is ready to go like that. And then this one goes this way. I'm just going to move these two dimensionals in a bit. Okay, now I'm going to do what I never, ever, ever do. Put a glue dot underneath that ribbon, because otherwise, when I put these over top, if they don't touch the paper, if they're just sticking to the ribbon, then you could have a weird situation where it actually will sag on you, and I don't want saggy. Okay, there's one, and one on the other one too. Come on, lift up. Up. There. That's just to hold the ribbon in place. And I'll take my liners off. This one fits in this hole like this, and they're really easy to put back in because the holes are already there for you. There's that one. And we'll do this one next. That one's going to sit right there. And if you're off a bit, it doesn't matter. All right. Now, there is one spot I missed. I'm going to put one right there because I missed it. And I don't want to have a saggy flower. Don't like saggy flowers. There we go. So there we are. See, we've got a lot of dimension on that card front. Look at that. Isn't that pretty with all that embossing? Oh, I just love this bundle. And at first I looked at it and I thought, no, I don't think so. But then when I found out how to actually work it, I thought, oh yeah, in my basket that one goes. Okay, so I'm using some Gorgeous Grape ink, and I'm just inking it up the sentiment. Put it onto some basic white cardstock and put the die over the top. Kind of center it. I'll just put Post-it notes on here so it doesn't move on me when I go to die cut it. I have to change my machine back to die cutting. Oops, there we go. So we'll just run that through the machine. Take off my Post-it notes. Okay, now this is going to get dimensionals on it as well. I love this little flaggy thing. It really is cute. Holy overkill with the dimensionals, eh? well. And take those liners off. Now I'm going to line it right. Oh, that's a little on the crooked side. Oh well. I'm going to line that up and put it right there on the edge. So I got this one in a slightly different position than I did that one, but it's okay. That can still go there. And get out the pastel pearls. I think I'll use the dark ones maybe this time, as I used the light ones last time. We can do something different. And one more down here. There we go. And there I have an escapee one. Put that on there so it does not get loose and get lost. Oops, hang on. Got some peeking out down here. There we go. So there's the front of the card. Quick and easy. You could do multiples of this one. So I'm going to stamp the inside and the envelope because I never send out a card with a naked inside and a naked envelope. And I'm going to use the same stamp and I'm going to use the same color. So I don't have to clean my stamp in between, but we'll only use part of it on the inside. But even though I'm using part, always make sure you ink up your full image because you never know where you're going to want to put it. I'll put that right down there in the corner. Give it a good rub for ink transference. And when you're using photopolymer stamps, make sure you leave the stamp there for a little bit so that there's good ink transfer. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Love it. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on the envelope. Let's close that before I get ink everywhere. Make sure my envelope is the right way up. And we'll just stamp that in the corner again. There we go. So that's the envelope. Now the inside piece, I'm also going to use my fresh Frisium marker to go around the outside just to give it a little bit of definition on the inside without adding extra weight to it, because this would be a really easy inexpensive card to mail. There's not a lot of height on it and it's not very heavy because it hasn't got a lot of layers. Now when you're doing this, you don't really see the effect until you hold it over top of white paper and then you see. You see the color around the outside of it. Okay, my adhesive on here. So I'm not sure how long these YouTube lives will last during the summer, because here in British Columbia, Canada, we are starting to reintegrate back into the world. And we're going to be able to travel shortly, which means trips to see our other grandchildren and camping and all sorts of stuff. But I will do them as often as I can. And if I'm not here, then regularly I will be back in September and start my YouTube live card demonstrations again then. But I do have something planned for next week, and I'm hoping that it's going to be okay, because the 15th is the day that the new orders come out, the new provincial health orders come out, so we can't travel before that date anyways. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the card, and I'll just show you up close again that gorgeous embossing folder. Now, let me find those pink cards. I'll show you. Nope, I don't. I must have put them in the mail or on their way to somebody already. So thanks so much for joining me. And if you'd like to see the video for the other cards that I made last Friday using this bundle, then just click on the link in the description of this video. Thanks so much for joining me in my craft room today. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. If you have any questions, let me know. My email link is in the description. Stampin' Smiles, and bye for now.